Phase. Third. Phase. Third. Phase.
Welcome back, everybody. Blake Cousins, and we are live streaming. It's about 7:10 p.m. Hawaii time. And it's been a wild ride this past couple months and this past couple weeks. I got to say, our channel's been having some issues as of lately due to the fact that, people are trying to take this channel down, but we won a few battles, and in the future we're gonna be calling out some names in regards to some videos that people are claiming that they own copyright to, and it's incredible some of the arrogance that's going around in regards to this person that thinks that they own rights to NASA footage, and we'll be getting into that. But also, what is going on in Brazil, guys? And I want to get your thoughts if this Brazilian incident is the real deal. We've been seeing the video going around. I'm not going to be showing it to you, but here's a quick image of it. It's peculiar of what's going on, and from the states of the people's social media, it's interesting to speculate if this could be indeed some kind of a downed UFO. Could you say? I want to get your thoughts, and we're reaching out to everybody, especially in Brazil. If you've got any information, the Brazilian people, you've been watching Third Phase of Moon for years now, and I know there's a lot of fans out there, so give us a big thumbs up if you're from Brazil or anywhere around the world. If you're listening now, I don't know, something just glitched. The reconnected Phase of Moon, people's been coming to us and say, hey, Third Phase, why aren't you covering this Brazilian incident? And the whole fact is we've been like everybody else, watching the news very closely, seeing how things are progressing over there. But at the moment, we really haven't gotten any footage from anybody from the source, and that's what we do at Third Phase. We get the permission from the people who shoot the videos, and then we share them on Third Phase of Moon. But when it comes to NASA, as some of the issues we've been having lately, people are claiming that they actually own NASA footage, and this is incredible. You probably know the guy. You probably heard of him out there, and I'm not going to mention any names, but he has this database thing. It's not the NASA database. It's another database channel out there, and unfortunately, he thought he had the right to do things in regards to NASA imagery. But anyway, let's get back to this whole idea of what's going on in Brazil. We're urging anybody from Brazil or any of the Brazilian people, if they've got any information, we want to hear it right here, and we want to share it, especially from people from the source, not secondhand journalism, not gumshoe journalism, but like straight up dealing with the people and finding out what's going on. And that's kind of why we haven't really covered it, because we really don't have anything to share but what's out there. But again, we're waiting for people to make a connection right here at Third Phase of Moon. That's why we're doing this live broadcast. I think it's important to get the information out, as well as people that do have insight to energy that is possibly being developed for the Space Force. You heard at the top in the Oval Office that there's some things out there that are going to blow us away, things we haven't seen before, and it's going to be changing the planet as we know it. And we spoke to an insider that works in a top secret, apparently, program that involved energy that is unlike anything we've seen before, and she shared with us this information, which is very incredible. So I'm going to go ahead and share that portion with you of this interview, and I want to get your thoughts. Her name is Kelly, and wow, it is pretty insane what she has to say. Let's just go ahead and
You
play
are very
it. Go ahead.
welcome. I worked in the aerospace community in the 80s and 90s down in Houston by the Lyndon B. Johnson Space Center. And what a lot of people don't know is that most people are contractors like what I was, and so you are contracted to a company, but your work is on a NASA project. And so you're in NASA meetings, you're involved, but you're paid for by the contractor that you work for. And that's what I did. Most of the guys I worked with in the companies I did had just retired from Mercury, Gemini, Apollo. Awesome guys. And depending on the project I worked on, I had a clearance from top secret to above top secret to more, just depending. And I did research, I did writing. A lot of stuff I did at the beginning was a lot of information coming out, and the people that needed to read it couldn't understand it all. And so I'd take a lot of technical stuff and turn it into layman's terms. And so I started getting a pretty good base of information. And then I also was a journalist part-time, and I wrote for you probably don't remember this magazine. It was called Omni Magazine. I wrote a space and science column, but for the Japanese version. And first I want to tell you a story, and then I'll tell you more of what I did, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
I was asked
Kelly,
by the publisher to write a real story about what NASA thinks about UFOs. And I mentioned it to my bosses down there. I thought, well, this ought to be fun. About 2 days later, I got called in their office, and there were a couple guys standing there. One guy was John Schuessler, who a lot of people out there probably know. He was a NASA shuttle engineer, and I think he became the head of MUFON in Texas, actually. There was another guy there. They had both worked for the company many, many years ago, and so they started telling me some things, and I was blown away because John was a well-known shuttle engineer. He worked with propulsion systems, and I said, John, how can you work for NASA and also have a radio show and talk about UFOs? Isn't there a problem there? I mean, how do you do that? Or why do you do that? And he said something really interesting, Blake. He said, I was on my radio show, and it was around Christmas time, and a girl called me, about a 15-year-old girl, and she was visiting there with her family, and she had seen a UFO, and she had told her family about it, and her parents were going to bring her back after this vacation and put her in a mental institution to get healed because she had seen this UFO. And of course she was scared to death, and she called John Schuessler on his radio show, and John said, I knew immediately that I had to go talk to her parents, that there's a lot of credible people having experiences, real experiences, and they needed someone credible to say, hey, this is real. It's not all BS, And so that's kind of what started out the conversation with him. And I mean, they were telling me some incredible information because he needed a bigger story than the Watergate scandal, and that got stopped. But anyway, before I tell you a little bit, I don't know how you want to do this. I can tell you a little bit about more what I did, but I want to tell you about my first encounter, and then I can go back if that's okay. My first UFO encounter.
Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely. Let's hear about encounters. But let's. You also stated in your email, and I apologize. I thought in the emails you were a he. Some guys are named Kelly as well, but
that's no problem. It's no problem at all.
No problem. Hey,
it's
so
all right.
Kelly, great. Also, you stated in your contact that you've worked with Alien Tech. That's the point, and that's the starting point where I want to get to. What Alien Tech?
Okay.
If you can give us some details on that.
Okay, I can tell you about that. Like I said, I did a lot of research, and I used to help transfer technology. It goes all the way back to, obviously, to Roswell, and it took many years to extract a lot of information out of there. But after Roswell, it's really true that our government made a deal with the Greys, the Beta Articuli people, and there was a transfer of information and technology, and that continued for a long time. And there were other crashes, there were meetings, and some of the things I did was actually have access to some of this technology and work with the guys that were writing the reports and then trying to find a way to take that information, because some of it was just so high tech, no one even knew what they were talking about. Taking that and turning that into something that maybe an engineer could understand. So I was kind of a go-between, trying to figure out, okay, how do we say that in a different way? And so I worked on a lot of projects like that. I'm not going to tell you what technology I worked on right now, but I actually did that. And I also, let me see. I can say that I actually met some extraterrestrials in my lifetime.
Wow.
This
was
is
that
real.
Did you meet
this
the
is real. I met.
Did you meet them on a military base, or was it a personal encounter?
Yes. One I met on a military base in Nevada, which is pretty well known. And some I met other places.
Can you tell me about that experience?
To say.
I want to hear
Which
about
one?
the experience in Nevada.
In Nevada?
yeah, please. I want to get some details, Kelly. Don't mind me. I just pin it down. I got to get information. That's what we do at Hertz Phase. Go ahead, Kelly. Give me some.
That's all right. I just I want to say something about extraterrestrials. There's so much information out there. Just because people is technologically advanced doesn't mean that they're spiritually advanced. I mean, it's true. There's a lot of different races coming down here, and they've been coming down here for a very, very long time. And some have good intentions, and some don't have good intentions. And there were times that I really wasn't comfortable what I was doing because I didn't like the particular entities that I had to deal with. They weren't very nice. But I also
what do you mean? What do you mean,
to say this.
What do you mean? Why weren't they nice? What do they look like?
I worked with Grace for a one time. I officially did, and they were very. I just felt that they were. I felt like they were better than us. I mean, I really had a problem with all the abductions and things that were going on in the world. I didn't want to do that, and I didn't feel like that was a good thing, even though I could understand it. Okay. And I also met with what I would call the Anunnaki, people like us. You could not tell the difference. I mean, you can't tell the difference. You can't. And they're here. And they're good people. They've been coming for a very long time. And anybody, I'm sure you've read Zachariah Stitchen's book, or you're used to it. That's,
Yeah, the 12th planet.
If people want to know about the history of this planet, that's a good way to start right there. That's one of the histories. But, if you look at the Earth, I mean, we're such a beautiful planet, even though we're screwing it up, right? We're this beautiful planet. So if you look at space around it, we're actually prime real estate in the universe. A lot of people want this prime real estate. I mean, that's true.
Kelly, can you tell us
a lot of people want to help us keep it.
What was their agenda? Was there any kind of insight that you learned from these guys? And you said some of them were really not too friendly.
It was just their attitudes. What I had to do with them, I'll just say very, very briefly, was that I had to talk to them about some technology that they were transferring for us in exchange for some information. And I just didn't like their attitudes. They were just really holier than thou. They just thought that they could rule us. And I think that's why, I'm going to say this, I think that's why there's been so many whistleblowers from Area 51, like Schneider and all those guys, because they realized that they're not here to help us. They're here to do something else. And back in the day, back a long time ago, after Roswell and even before that, I didn't know how to down a UFO. I mean, we didn't know how to do it. We didn't have the technology. And so our government, because of my previous contact I had when I was young, I was pretty good at telepathy. I still am, and so I was able to communicate with. I mean, we could sit in a meeting. Okay, I'll give you an analogy. If you work with the Japanese and you're with a meeting, and you've got all these translators, the translators are going to tell you what they want to hear. If you can speak Japanese, you can understand what they're really saying. And with telepathy, they might say something out loud, but they might be talking among themselves using telepathy. So I was able to sometimes read between the lines and get down to the nitty-gritty, maybe. I can say it like that. Sense?
Yeah, I kind of got you on that one. But my question is, so you must have had been prepared before you were about to meet an extraterrestrial, not of this Earth. How did...
Yeah, there was...
They didn't just go, hey, look, go take a look at this. Yeah. Explain the day when you first met the alien. Because that is, to me, there's a lot of missing detail. Everybody hears about what a gray alien looks like.
Right.
But having it in captivity and then being basically assigned
These
to
weren't in
either
captivity.
communicate or study.
These guys were not in captivity, Blake. These were guys actively working with our government, teaching us with technology. There were guys in activity. There were grays in activity at the very beginning after Roswell. But I can assure you that, not too many years after that, this whole story of, Eisenhower and stuff, meeting extraterrestrials, it's true. So these guys were not in captivity. They just worked out in places like, Area 51 or S4 or whatever, other places there, helping us, learn some of their technology in exchange for something we could get back.
What about the alien abduction phenomenon? Any insight behind that? Why are they abducting people, the public? Why are they having these encounters?
Yeah, I think my take on this from my own experience is that there's actually, I think, 3 different races of what you call grays. You have tall grays, you have short grays. The tall grays are really the big bosses, okay? There is a problem, or there was a problem within their world where they weren't able to fully procreate, and their babies were coming out, let's say, not very smart, okay? And they had a problem with their home world, and so part of the abduction phenomena was to put new DNA into their own system in order to improve their people. That's part of it. That was a lot of it, actually. And a lot of their take on it is that a lot of the people that they abduct and work with have agreed to do this before they came to Earth, before this lifetime, that they came down, that they reincarnated from grays to Earth in order to help their people. That's a lot of their take on it. Crazy if you think about it, right?
Absolutely. This is incredible, Kelly. I'm so glad that you reached out to us. There are a bunch of callers that want to reach out to us and share their incredible UFO encounters, but I want to hang here with you just for a few more minutes. Just a few more minutes. I want to get some more questions in. So appreciate it, Kelly.
That's fine.
What's quite amazing is that you're privy to top secret alien technology. You've been in close proximity to the Anunnaki and the Greys. You pretty much know their agenda.
Right.
That's amazing. What can you give us that is the most important piece of evidence or information to let the people know around the world that we're not alone, and what can we do to get this information out?
I think there's a few things people can do. You know, there's something called Earth. We live in what's called a free will zone, meaning information has to be put out there. It doesn't say how it has to be put out there. It could be in the National Enquirer, okay? But one of the things, I'm going to go back to John Schuessler. One of the first things that he told me was people need to go back and not necessarily look at ancient aliens, but read the ancient Vedas, like from India. Look at the Chinese culture. Look at the Japanese culture. Every ancient culture shows contact with extraterrestrials. Every one. The problem that it doesn't get out is because archaeologists have been so afraid of it. They don't want to talk about it. It's called black archaeology. It's only now that it's coming out. But if people want to know the history of this planet, all they have to do is research. The second thing is that Paul Hellyer, who was Department of Defense he was head of Department of Defense for Canada for several years. He's a really incredible guy. And people, if they want to know, they should go back and look at what he said. I'm sure he's on YouTube. In fact, he is on YouTube, and listen to what he said. He talked about all of the species that are coming down here. And he said, there have been species that have given us a chance to try and be better. And our government didn't want it because, not just our government, let's say the powers to be, the New World Order, doesn't necessarily want a utopia world. I'm just going to leave that there. But the other thing is just what you guys are doing, Blake. You know, the footage that you guys show is incredible. And I know some of it's reverse engineering. A lot of it's reverse engineering. A lot of it. But a lot of it's not. A lot of it's not. And I know that we're coming into an age when there's many races that want us to know that they exist. And this is one of the reasons, because what we do to this planet, we do to them. If we have a nuclear war, we don't just hurt this planet. We just don't have nuclear winter here. We're affecting everything out in the universe. Everything's connected. I know there's been cases in the past where, for example, there were bombs tested in the atmosphere, you know, in our space atmosphere, in our Earth atmosphere, and there were actually hundreds of UFOs that came and put up, I don't know how to say this, put up barriers so that stuff that was in these bombs would not go any farther, because it's going to affect them. That's why you have so many missile silos being, you see UFOs over and all of a sudden none of the missile silos work. They're saying to us, you need to think about what the heck you're doing. You really need to think about it. And,
That's for sure.
people just need to look around them.
That's right. They got to look around. They got to think about the big picture. What you've just heard is a caller right here into Third Phase of Moon. There is a little correspondence on the email. We invited Kelly on the show, and she joined us, and that's incredible. Some of the information that comes in, we just never know. An insider. Some of the technology, she could not say top secret information isn't always leaked. You know, there are repercussions of top secret leaks out there. But let me tell you, if we get it right here at Third Phase Moon, and it involves alien technology, according to the U.S. government, they're not investigating UFOs.
So, you know, this is the big question, guys. Is this what we need to figure out? What is really going on? What do you believe? Is the government, or are they really going to let us know about this whole situation? Are they going to release the entire videos that the NASA pilots have captured? All these questions and much, much more is what Third Phase of Moon's all about. And that's why we're here doing this live episode. And obviously, we gave Kelly her chance to tell her side of the story. Again, I wish she was a little bit more forthcoming with details. If you're gonna say that you worked at these situations, give me the details that I want to hear. Like I asked her a couple times about what it was like to interact with these aliens that were apparently at the base, the infamous Area 51. She didn't want to quite say it, but the details were getting real vague and things that we've heard before. And in situations like this, that people are on the inside, if you're going to come forward, as well as this Brazilian incident, we want to deal with people that are going to give us, information basically we haven't heard before, because if you're from on the boots on the ground, usually that's what you're coming across, like new information. But again, you never know, maybe she was nervous, and we appreciate Kelly for coming on the show and telling her insight. Sometimes it takes a lot of guts, and it takes a little bit more than 22 minutes to get to the point of a situation, especially as sensitive and sensitive information as this matter. Let's get the chat in. Let's bring in the chat. I want to ask these guys out, everybody that's joining us. I think we're at how many views right now, Brent? Live?
832.
We got 832 people joining us live around the world. Let's get this up to 1,000. And again, I want to get everybody's opinions out there, what's going on in Brazil. And we want to also thank Tommy Lee for the $5 super chat a little earlier today on the streaming. Everything it helps right here at Third Phase. No doubt about it. Super chat, Tommy Lee, man, appreciate the support. Hopefully you're still with us at listening, and we appreciate you so much. And everybody in the chat, it seems like it's an active one, no doubt about it. I'm going to look at it, and bear with me. I'm looking and doing a few things at the same time, but let's just go over some of the people that have joined us. We got Elliot Elzer with us. What up? We're broadcasting live, man. That's what we're doing. The Truth Seekers with us. We got Diane Klein. Anytime is Klein time. Okay, whatever that means. Let's see. We got people. The chat's moving pretty quickly, but we want to thank everybody who's joining us. There he is, Tommy Lee. Yeah, you're welcome, man. Thanks for that super chat. Really, really helps out. We got Darcy. Oh, Third Phase Moon. What she's telling us is the truth, but she's just repeating what she's heard and claiming if it's she that introduced this technology or endorsed the technology. True, Darcy. That was kind of my thoughts. Like, I want to hear new things, and obviously, what she's saying is true. I'm not disclaiming or denouncing what she's saying is true. It's just we need more details when you're bringing in the information. Yeah. Marie Paz Adon 73. What happened in Brazil? Well, this is the big question. What is going on? And we need to find out. Well, the super chat's moving so fast. Let's jump forward. Hero 92694. Abel's with us. Diane Boss, appreciate it. Patrick Belmore, boys from Brazil. Yeah, who knows what's going on? It may be. There could be a connection there. We got Jimmy Mack, the Anunnaki is or what? I'm not going to go ahead and say that, but Johnny Vincent is with us. Solar Dragon. We got Sean Barker. She was not on, Sean Barker says. Yeah, she might have not have been on it. Like I said, just 22-minute interview, trying to get the information out. It's tough to do during these circumstances. And, dealing with people not face to face, but we want to get people's information as quick and as possible and bring it to you guys that are joining us as to the Third Phase Moon people, the people that are joining us.
Yeah.
Here's Brent. Brent's with us as well. And if you guys got any questions for us, let us know, and we'll see if we could get to them. But go ahead, Brent.
Yeah, looking at what happened this week with the Brazilian incident, there's a whole plethora of information that came through, but it came through a whole bunch of different sources. And it was kind of interesting seeing the videos coming in, and some of them you could tell were kind of cut and spliced in some of the journalism that was that was done. A lot of the videos I could see that it was a drone show. It was an obvious drone show, and they're trying to tie that with the Colombian crash, and then they spliced in another shot saying, "Oh, this is a crashed UFO," and then you could tell they're definitely skydivers from a different time, probably a reproduced data. I don't even think it was at the same time it happened in Brazil. But there was really compelling footage when you saw the people on the ground and they're being asked what they saw, and that was compelling. They said it looked like a frying pan that landed on a lake, which is interesting. And then there's videos of explosions that were happening along the mountainside. Was there a connection with that? It seemed like a bunch of cut and paste of a bunch of events that didn't match up.
Yeah, I'm going to be bringing up this photograph too. We're not going to play the video. Somebody's behind it. I'm not sure if it's legit or not, but we also want to thank another super chat. Just Keep Asking Why is the name of his YouTube channel. And what a great statement. Just keep asking why. He says, thanks for working towards full disclosure. Time to level up. And absolutely, that's what needs to be stated over there in Brazil. The Brazilian people or the government needs to come forward and level up. And again, we want to thank Just Keep Asking Why uh, for that super chat, that $4.99 super chat. And it's the whole question. Just keep asking why, and maybe we'll get to these questions and get these answers to all the questions that we all want here. We got Renata Jensen says, I'm Brazilian. Well, if you got any family, Renata, or if you could bring any correspondence from Brazil about what's going on over there, do your due diligence and have them get in touch with Third Phase. That's very important. Interesting. We got people that have the Brazilian connection. I'm sure we got a lot of connections around there in Brazil that haven't reached out to us, but maybe if they hear this, that we're reaching out to the people out there, we want to hear it. Let's see. Tim Wilson says, what I don't understand is back in the Roswell times when people saw or came within a UFO, their car stopped and people got burns. Now people see them all the time and their cars aren't stopping, etc. Yeah, maybe it is interesting. So many UFO sightings. We don't hear of those burn marks that are that used to appear back in the day. It was a strange phenomenon, no doubt about it. So, again, I want to get your guys' thoughts. And if you've got any connections out in Brazil, we want to definitely get some kind of correspondence between people there and what's going on with this photograph or this video. Is this something that we all need to look into a little bit more? We're not hearing much information from the top, but maybe it'll trickle down. Casey Jones says, South American accident. Hundreds of people were burned by energy from lights in the sky. Yeah, it could have been some kind of definitely solar flare that could have hit in a way that caused some temporary rises in the temperature. But we didn't hear any news about that. Maybe there could have been some issues.
It almost reminds me of the Manitoba incident in Canada where there's a downed UFO. The military came in and it seems like they seized the people, the public, whatever pictures that were on the ground. They took all the cameras, and it's kind of representation of what happened in Manitoba. But it seems like there's people actually coming out of there had more things to say, people on the ground. So this is, I think, more legitimate what happened in Canada that's happening in Brazil. That photo looks like a toy, in my opinion. I'm just throwing it out there. Do you guys think that's a real deal? I'm asking you guys.
Yeah, what do you guys think? Is this photo legitimate? Let me. We're gonna run it. Let the chat build up and give me a yes or a no, and if so, why? What's your thoughts on it? Here's the photograph. And, I'm just not quite buying it yet unless we get more information. We got to hear from the person that shot this, who hasn't come forward yet. Mr. D Mr. DB Cooper 77 says, thanks for the work you guys put in. Shout out. UFO Man on YouTube. Yeah, Mr. DB Cooper 77's thanking us for shouting out UFO Man on YouTube, and appreciate the $4.99 super chat, Mr. DB Cooper. It's good to see you here on Third Phase of the Moon. I've known Mr. DC Cooper throughout for almost a year now from other channels, but it's good to see him over here on Third Phase of the Moon, and appreciate again that super chat. And UFO Man's doing good work. We don't care if a channel's big or small. If we think they're doing good work, we're gonna share that evidence and collaboration and getting the evidence out. That's what it's all about. And unfortunately, there's people in this field that are like trying to claim like NASA footage, straight up NASA imagery as their own, and apparently trying to make it that nobody could share NASA imagery other than that certain site, which was totally ridiculous. But it's amazing about situations that are happening. But again, Mr. DB Cooper 77, you're the man. Appreciate it. Let's see. People are still joining us. It's a good thing. Hallison Ribeiro says, I'm from Brazil. Hallison, come on. What's going on over there? Any word, Hallison, over there in Brazil? I want to know. What's the word on the street? What's the media talking about? Rodney Bean just did a super chat for $1.99. Rodney, appreciate it so much. Man, people are just, enjoying this live chat. And we haven't been able to do a live chat due to some of the issues that I'm talking about.
Yeah, actually, this is the first day that we did go live in probably about a month. We've done some like premieres, and that's kind of going live, but it's not us being able to talk to you personally, and we lost that. And that was pretty devastating to the channel this past month, and we're super happy to have it back. And yeah, as soon as we got it, we went live today. We're like, oh, why not do it and talk to our peeps at Third Phase of Moon? It's really awesome.
So I'd imagine after this broadcast is done with this live stream, by the end of the night, we're going to be getting some information about what's going on in Brazil. And if this is indeed some kind of event that is extraterrestrial and there's a cover up, and apparently there's a lot of social media it's kind of hard to get out of there, but we'll find out. We'll get to the bottom of this. Francisco Carlos Noriega Jr. says he's in Brazil. Okay, Francisco, he's in the chat right now. Francisco, tell me what's up, man? What's going on over there in Brazil? I want to get some information here. Did you hear about the crash? What's your friend saying? Yeah, Goofon Radio's with us too. Rich, good to see you here, man. He's he's pretty much like what we're saying, that it looks a little suspicious, this photograph. And Goofon saying it's a coat button close to the camera. Yeah, I think there's some kind of possible perspective shoot. It's maybe a miniature set, maybe a blue screen behind there. And obviously, it's very suspicious. And I'm not exactly sure what this is all about, this Brazilian UFO story. Sometimes, when we get the stories, we're dealing with the real people. We make sure that people that share their UFOs is from pretty much a legitimate channel that's not UFO related, that they just put up a random UFO video, because that's what it's really is. People randomly capture them. We reach out to them, or they reach out to us, and we share the video. In this case, I think there's maybe some kind of a possible, I dare say it, maybe a big hoax, but I don't know. I don't want to deny it until we know more.
I do think there's claims to what went on in Brazil, but I think people are taking advantage and mixing up and mashing up these clips from Brazil that didn't even happen that day, and they claim to tie it into one story, and they're mix-mashing this whole thing. So Goofon Radio, we saw his stream earlier today. He's not buying it. I'm not buying it too much either, except a couple people that were on the ground. Something went down, but that photo I think was a manufactured just to kind of promote the story. It's not legit.
Yeah, most likely. Due to the contemplation of videos, it doesn't seem like it's the same event. It looks like they're coming from separate events, and they're just mishmashing a bunch of videos together to make it look like something went down. I got the Bostonian 420 with the $1.99 super chat. Bostonian, appreciate it. He's a huge fan. You know what? Thank you so much for joining us right here at Third Phase Moon. The chat keeps coming in, and it's going so fast. I keep got to scroll down. Sorry, we're not getting to everybody, but the super chat kind of slows our chat down where we could see that and get to the people's get to some responses. Jim Mack says, if it was a hoax, someone would have came forward to take credit. Makes me believe it's more. You know, Jimmy, you may have a point. That's why we're giving a big shout out to anybody in Brazil. And apparently we got some chat people right now that are actually living in Brazil. I'm not seeing what's going on with the correspondence. Like, I want to know if anybody out there in Brazil, you got to hit us up. My email is in the description. We're going to be checking our emails here, see if any updates are coming in. Yep, and GoofOn Radios. If you guys aren't aware, everybody out there in Third Phase Moon, GoofOn's been doing some good work. He puts up daily reports on his YouTube channel in regards to anything that's news orientated in the field of ufology or any other things that are strange, and he's got his own opinions on things. And you know, not everybody's going to agree with what he's got to say, but you got to give GoofOn Radio some credit. He's up there 5 days a week, pretty much doing 2-hour streams. It's a lot of work, and there's information that comes out there that's breaking at certain times, and you know, it's interesting to watch. And GoofOn, we're going to be having him up on Third Phase of Moon here pretty soon on Third Phase. We're going to be going over certain aspects about certain UFO sightings that we have submitted, and we're going to go over them, and some we might get into some disagreements at points, but that's the whole idea. We need people's opinions on both sides. We can't just have our heads wide open where everything's falling out of our brains and our heads. We got to keep it sophisticated and get down to the truth. That's why you saw me with Corey Good the other day. We had him on the show, very controversial figure, but you saw me ask him the big questions. And, you know, that's what we're going to do right here at Third Phase Moon. Tommy L, man, appreciate it. Who videotapes a UFO for just 15 seconds if it's on the ground? Just keep tampering it. Am I wrong? Just keep tapering it. You know, sometimes the window of opportunity could be only for 15 seconds. And we're not going to judge that as a basis. But Tommy, man, appreciate the super chat, $5. You know, again, it really helps. But it is interesting, you know, the whole video on this. I can only show you the thumbnail. That it looks pretty set up in my opinion. But if you know, if it is the real deal, obviously there is a cover up, and they're gonna cover it up so fast that maybe this is all they could get, because it's not going to be an open invitation, a tourist spot where people are going to go and surround this thing and go and check it out. Let's bring the public in. Let's go, everybody surround the UFO and take selfies with it. That's not going to happen. If it is the real deal, then obviously I would imagine that this thing is already, you know, taken away and hidden, and they're going to maybe put out this possible video that is a video that is intended to deceive and make it look like it's a joke. You just never know. And that's why we trust the people on the ground. We trust real people that are legitimate, and we reach out to them. Thousands of people throughout the years on Third Phase Moon, contacts around the world that have definitely shared their videos with us right here at Third Phase Moon throughout the years. Brent?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited that we're able to go live. It's been a month, and yeah, there's a couple bad apples out there that, you know, have been in the field too and should know better than coming after channels that are just trying to get the word out and using NASA and Google Earth imagery and kind of claiming it as their own. And right now, I think we were feeling pretty confident because YouTube liked the position we're in. So that's why we're here live and And yeah, there's people trying to cut the source down. So I'm glad we're here and appreciate you guys joining us. You guys just rock. It's awesome.
And so does Richard Garcia. He rocks with the super chat $5. He says, "Love what you do. Keep it up, Richard. Appreciate it so much. We're gonna keep it up as long as we can. There's just too much information. It's our passion. That's what we're gonna do, and all the connections around the world and people that have been reaching out to us. We're gonna continue to share this information. It's kind of a duty, and we appreciate the people that give us the feedback, and that really is the most important thing to us." Lakeem Mohammed, he says, "I missed the Corey Good interview." He's got a $5 super chat. Lakeem, appreciate it so much, bro. He says, "I miss the Corey Good interview." Well, it's up.
It's there.
It's there, man. It's I think our last upload on YouTube. So you go check that out, bro. Because let me tell you, with extraordinary claims, you need extraordinary evidence. And I asked Corey Good some of the big questions, but you know what? I gotta give him a hands off. That he hats off to him. He answered the questions straight up, as best to his ability. So he's an interesting fella, and we'll have him back on Third Phase Moon if he's got information. And again, we're gonna keep asking the big hard questions that we all deserve. Flash chat says, "Zooming by, guys." Lakeem did with another $3.99 super chat. He said, "Did Corey Good speak out on black ETs?" I didn't hear anything about that. He definitely didn't discuss that in our interview that we had with him. I'm not sure where that's coming from, but
they come in all colors.
I think they probably come in all colors, all shades, and shapes and sizes, and
colors we can't
colors we can't. Yeah, Brent's saying colors we couldn't ever imagine, guys. They're aliens.
More the merrier.
More color, the better, guys. But Lakeem, appreciate that super chat. Again, the support right here at Third Phase of Moon really helps out. Fire Falcon says the MIB can be dangerous. Who involves with it? Fire Falcon, you might want to go check out Dr. J Radio Live after this live interview. He just put up an incredible interview with a man that has encounters with the MIB for years. It was really detailed. What an amazing interview that Dr. J had today. And we're going to be sharing portions of that. But if I were you, I'd go jump on that here in just a bit when we're done here, guys. Let's see. So, again, it was our pleasure, and we're going to have to get going. We've got some videos coming in, and the information in regards to Brazil, we're going to find out what's going on. Stay tuned over here. If we get anything, we're going to let you know. But, again, we do have some videos that have come in. But we wanted to test our live stream, make sure we're back up, and let everybody know Third Phase of Moon's back. And we're going to continue to do what we're doing. It's been our pleasure, everybody from around the world that's joined us tonight. Keep your eyes on the skies. Be safe. And you guys, stay tuned. Boss Stoney. The Bostonian 420. Bostonian, man, appreciate it. Another $2 super chat. Sending what happened to me during my abduction. Oh, cool, man. Bostonian is going to send us some information about what happened to him on his abduction. Absolutely. We look forward to it, Bostonian 420, and appreciate that super chat. Yeah, my email's below, guys. So if you guys got any evidence, you got any sources in Brazil, you let us know. You guys are the best. We'll see you real soon.